morning. Good morning, everybody. It's so lovely. Happy New Year. Wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome and wanted here at Community Church and in all our endeavors. Today's moment of focus in threshold places where endings meet beginnings, we listen backwards as we move forward. What can we learn from the year past? From how evil played its cards, or from relationships gained and lost? What brought you deep delight when everything was swirling? To whom were you able to turn to, and who challenged you to grow? Individually and collectively, none of us are the same. For some of these changes, we weep, and for others, we rejoice. But from each, we carry something forward, a feeling, a lesson, a memory, a challenge, a call to solidarity. Collectively, we acknowledge a closing and an opening, a fresh start that offers only as much meaning as we need from it, inviting us not to wage war on ourselves, but just to pause, pay attention to our longings and our pain, and what we might learn from them about how we wish to live. A new year does not need to mean a new you. You do not need to make demands of yourself grounded in messages that are only meant to make you feel inadequate or unlovable. Your worth is ineffable. That is a constant that carries from year to year. Move gently with yourself into 2023, speaking instead words of possibility, committing to that which calls you, letting yourself be lured by the sacred in the direction of your most powerful becoming. Make only resolutions that will lead to more flourishing of life, yours and others. Reject individualistic notions of success or failure and channel your growing in the direction of what we can create, of what we can divest from, of what we can abolish, of what we must claim, of what we must fight, of what we can become.
Is more or less arbitrarily placed. It was originally in April, so that the renewal of plants and spring marked the renewal of the calendar. In fact, April Fools originated to mock the supposed fools who continued to celebrate New Year's on April 1st instead of on January 1st as the new calendar called for. So now, New Year's interrupts 1 month of snow and unpredictable weather, and another month of snow and unpredictable weather. For me personally, I would like to imagine New Year's as a sort of season finale. All the loose ends are tied up, unwanted things can be cut, or at least not carried over into the new season. But alas, January 1st directly follows December 31st, and it's hard to make room for new habits with all of these old responsibilities cluttering up my schedule. So I wanted to begin by saying what I hope will continue in the new year, rather than trying to invent new things to shove into it. There is a lot of talk about what needs to change after New Year's, but I want to take time to acknowledge things I believe are worthwhile and should continue in the new year. For me personally, I look forward to continuing school. I don't have much formal schooling left, but I want to enjoy what I do have. I look forward to learning from teachers, books, and articles, not just these coming months, but for many years to come, and learning more about the greater world. I look forward to spending time with my family and pets. I mention my pets because although it's a little bit silly, I think there's really something to be gained by spending time with animals or other things besides humans. Having a connection to nature can go a long way to making us feel relaxed and whole. I mean, Adam was placed on Earth to name the animals and cultivate God's creation. And in the parables, Jesus compares humans to mustard seeds and sheep, things that definitely are not human, but still loved by God all the same. And the metaphors and parables hold, because even though I would take offense to be called a sheep, when Christ tells it, I understand that he sees a reflection of humanity in those animals and vice versa. So this coming year, I look forward to basking in the natural world. I want to continue to walk through the Geauga parks, to learn the names of birds beyond just blue jays, cardinals, and chickadees. I want to continue to see the sun when I wake up and go to bed after the sun has set. The Lord has created this wonderful system to tell us how to schedule our days, and I think it's wonderful that he announces these transitions with such fanfare. It may happen every day, but sunsets and sunrises are things of beauty. So this coming year, I want to remember to celebrate the little things in life. Taking time to be grateful can make huge problems seem a little more surmountable. If God can make the earth spin on its axis for 365 days in a year, I can write an essay for school. For the church, I look forward to seeing it continue to be so welcoming. Of course, there are the flags on the corner and the mission statement, but more important is the attitude of everyone here. It means something when people greet you as you walk in and care about you. I go to school in the South and attend a church there, and while they're not hostile, the feeling is different. I went to church once in a polo shirt and shorts and felt uncomfortable. But here, I know I can come however I am and not be judged. After all, it is the worship that matters. And it means something too, how often you repeat that ever so wonderful phrase. Wherever you are, no matter where you are on life's journey, you are welcome and wanted here. I think we all understand how powerful that sentence is. We saw it this summer as new people came to our church feeling welcome and wanted. This church is a place where people can come to listen for God's voice. And I think that's truly special. Understanding what you believe is the first step to enacting it. And although there is a thought that faith is all you need to be a Christian, faith should also propel one into good works. There's a reason the Lord's Prayer goes, "Thy will be done." And I look forward to seeing how this church continues to help create a better world in accordance to God's will. I know we already do great outreach in the community. You all do great work with Next Step and Geauga Family Services, and I don't even know how many other organizations. I look forward to the service auction in a few months, mostly for the excitement and circumstance that it brings. The church calendar is filled with all sorts of holidays, and you add in secular holidays like Mother's Day and going in and out of the pavilion. There's a lot to celebrate throughout the year. And although I, on a personal level, want to focus on celebrating little things, I think there's merit to the larger community celebrating the big things. Think of it as positive reinforcement. If we bring attention to the things that we like or that bring us joy, we can spread that with the broader world. For the broader community, I look forward to seeing people continuing to try and create a kinder world, doing good works, and however that means to them. The midterm election in 2022 had an almost record turnout, especially among young people, which I care about, which I think is proof that people are working to create the world that they want. I look forward to seeing more of that advocacy continue. In short, to sum up that entire section, just because you want to continue something does not mean you should stagnate. Continuing old practices is a chance to grow and refine them and yourself. If I had to make a New Year's resolution, it would be to be more supportive this coming year. Support is a vague term with many meanings. Support can be a huge team effort, like banding together to help refugees resettle or to put on a huge pride celebration. Or support can be smaller, like giving an introvert time to recharge or listening to a friend when they need to get something off their chest. I think support is more simply just looking outside of yourself and seeing what needs to be done. Looking outside yourself is hard because the one constant in all of our lives is that wherever you are there. And since you seem to be at the center of all of your experiences, you must be important, or so the temptation goes. I feel that temptation. I'm graduating from school this year, and there's a lot of talk about how I need to improve my resume so I can find the best job for me, so I can get ahead in life. And a lot of it's very individualistic, and that creates an isolating pressure. In the book, The Power of Ritual, the author writes that a lot of support that was once given by an entire village or community is now done usually just by the individual. People try to fill as many supportive roles in their life as they can with just themselves, and it's exhausting. It doesn't work. Support should come from the community, and that means both being open to communities that support you in some way, or going out of your way to support someone else. For myself, I'm going to start small. I want to compliment people more this year and try to listen a little better. Conversations don't need to be like a game of basketball where you're constantly trying to steal the ball back and forth. That's not always needed or wanted. And more broadly, I think support is relying on everyone around us. Support can be hard because it's tempting to believe that there is a right way of living, and accepting help is losing part of a zero-sum game. But we are meant to support one another. In Matthew chapter 6, Christ says, "Look at the birds of the air, that they do not sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth more than they?" In other words, the Lord supports his creation, and we, being created in his image, should also support one another. Happy New Year.
What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthem sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping? This the angels sing is Christ, God's holy offering. Haste, haste your praise to bring the babe, the child of Mary.
I hope that our church continues to grow as a community, both in mind and body. And I say that because I've so enjoyed watching new people come to church. And, you know, it's because we're enthusiastic and because we love this place and we want to come to church. I mean, you should see me. It's like, no, I'm going to church. Oh, but we're doing this wonderful, restoration activity. I said, no, can't do it. I'm going to church. And honestly, through all my years, I've never felt so happy about coming to church. So if that enthusiasm can continue to spread, to other people. And I know that today is a lean day only because it's the day after New Year's Eve. So, but I think, Wednesday is going to be such an exciting celebration. And I'm thrilled that it was postponed because I couldn't come Christmas Eve. So I'm really feeling very selfishly delighted. And I also hope that we continue to grow in mind. I love everybody's, energy and their thoughts. And I hope we can have some kind of a pot of ideas for the year that are discussed among all of us so that we can really pick out those things that will help us, that will facilitate that growth. That's the other thing too. Spirituality is such a gift, and I think we have it. We don't have to be here at church to have it, but I think we have it. It's a double whammy when we can be here in church and also have spirituality. So kudos to all of us. I really think so. I hope that we continue to learn from the past to inform our future. I use this phrase because I think of all the things that I've done, and we are all learners. We will always be learners our entire lives. So to look back, but not to dwell on the past, but just to consider the past as we move forward in the future. One thing I thought about in regard to this, our church is not a shelter, but we shelter. And I thought this was running through my mind. We really reach out to people. It talked about something that gives you a high to watch the energy when, we're talking and when we're here and to hear people comment on their experience coming to church. My cousin John, he is the most traditional Catholic that I know. We're talking about really church, and I love him dearly. And so he said, I'd like to come to your church someday. And I said, oh boy, here we go. Well, he came in November to our friends. He was so excited. And I think he walked away with lots and lots of energy. I think our church is real life. And I'm not saying anything about his church. I'm saying our church is real life. We're authentic. As Claire said, we are an authentic community. I always tell people you can come here in your pajamas, so that's consistent. You really could. I never worry about, what am I going to wear? Never. So I feel very privileged and grateful for this community. I hope that we continue to be an embracing, authentic community on a daily basis. That means not just on Sundays or not just if we have an event. I think we do, but we need to give ourselves credit for doing that and to celebrate it. I think that's important. Continue to invite others. I think having a Friends Sunday was wonderful in November, but I think we should do it every month. And I think just consider people that may be thinking about joining a church, and especially families. That's such a wonderful thing. And I hope in regard to that we have a children's part of service. I know Reverend Jess doesn't think he does a good job. I think he does an excellent job, and I'm an educator and I'm real picky about those things. But because it's spontaneous and he just is there. And I love his message that he comes up with. He's very good, I think. So I hope we can reinstate that when our children come back and that when we have more children. I hope we will continue to be available to one another. This is one thing I'm working on personally, is to reach out to other people in the church. I keep saying, oh, that's such a good idea, but I haven't done it. So I need to do it. And this is the year. This is the year for Anne. I have to find out where Nancy is. Also, we need to find additional financial resources. Not just, what we give here, but we need to look into grants. We need to, because we do so many wonderful things. There's money out there. We just need to dig. And I think we have to do it because this is such a wonderful building and such a wonderful community. So, in brainstorming, what can we do? We can only have so many bake sales, although they're really good too. Yeah, no, I've run out of notes, but I haven't run out of ideas. So I think if we could have some kind of an event, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't want to say brainstorming, but it is brainstorming, where we could just sit and just talk about the things that we've been thinking about and the things that we may consider. So I love this church and I love all of you. So thank you for all of your energy and your love too.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
Good morning and Happy New Year. A new year. It is formidable to be asked a vision for the coming year and its many promises. But for me, a new and extraordinary year has already been in place these last many months. It has been crystal clear to me from the first moment that I heard Jess Peacock speak, that I was watching the introduction to and the pending reformation of a novel, progressive, exciting, sometimes uncomfortable new period in the life of this church. Their messages have awakened something in me, provoked ways of examining things previously unchallenged, some even since my childhood. Never has the oft-used term fresh eyes held such meaning for me. I am learning. I am challenged. And I am working to open myself to ideas turned upside down and inside out, and to possibility. Because possibility is what 2023 is all about. I've been a member of this church for over 30 years. I've been witness to a rich history here of social justice and outreach and risk and affirmation of the alienated. And while I've been proud to be a part of so many moments like these, it's not about the accolades of yesterday and what we did. It is about what we can and what we will do. It is about potential and new risk, new ventures, new directions. So what are my hopes for the new year? Well, personally, if you know me at all, my passion is outreach and in many, many forms, whether it's feeding people, participating in LGBTQ events, or just listening to and supporting one another through times of joy and or despair. I find a very humble simplicity in just being able to serve. I feel, though, a new pull in addressing the profound and complex issue of climate change and all that it implies by its impact. Environmental justice calls us to care for all of God's creation, and becoming a creation justice church would be transformative. The clock is ticking. And by simple initiatives, this church could be the spark that ignites change. In addition to this safe space that we are building for all, we must also begin the dialogue on gun violence prevention. Tested repeatedly by our grief, we must be resolute and committed to stop these senseless acts and to end the cycle of violence. These are the issues of import to me that ignite me, but know that you all mentor me by your diverse interests and investments, and I stand at the ready to realize those issues that impassion you. By dovetailing on the momentum already underway, I see an unprecedented opportunity ahead for this church. I watch these pews grow more and more full with each passing week. I envision many new members like you with new undertakings and commitment to them, and new voices with ideas and energy. I long to see this space filled with children and youth of all ages, sharing our service with the re-establishment of programming designed for them, challenging their spiritual and their social growth. I see an unfolding expanse of support for the underserved, the alienated, and the marginalized, as we continue to uplift our neighbors and this community by our ongoing invitation to share fellowship and compassion. This kind of growth in this unique setting here in Geauga County requires leadership and strength, articulation, and risk. And through my fresh eyes, I see that in Jess. I believe in a potential here for something unprecedented, generated by new members and a more substantial financial commitment that would allow us to formally expand Jess's call from a part-time pastor to full-time. We have been offered an extraordinary opportunity that we can act upon to realize a better tomorrow, a kingdom of inclusivity. I knew I was going to stumble on that one, of fairness and of understanding, but the moment is now to allow love to be the lens through which we see the world. So I challenge you and myself to dream and to vision by growing this community through impact and service, by gifting our time, our talents, and our tithes, and by giving of ourselves as we practice selfless and extraordinary acts of love. The ripples of change are in motion, and we are standing on the shore with our toes dipped in new waters. Let's take the plunge and wade in. Happy New Year.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hill and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept their watching o'er silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Oh, tell it on the mountain, over the hill and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
As we enter this new year, may you be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others, embrace the sacred, embrace the impossible, grow in compassion, work for justice, and may you always lean into the divine rhythm of your life. May it be so, and Happy New Year.